Hey everybody, welcome to my live stream. Happy Wednesday. I'm really stoked to be here talking to you all. And as usual, I've got to wait a little bit to see if my feed is going to come in on YouTube. But in the meantime, it looks like it is. In the meantime, sorry, I just got to hit this play button to see. Yep, I'm good. Turn down the volume. All right, now I can quit Firefox because that uses CPU. Before I do that, everyone can read me? Everyone can hear me? Seraph, Peter, Michael, thank you guys for joining me. Hey, Karen, how are you? Good to see you. Some of my regulars are coming into the room. Rainbows and hearts, I love that. All right, cool. So you guys in the chat, I know chat is like super slow in feedback, but hey, Johnny. Hey, can you just tell me if you can see me and hear me? You can. Good. Okay, loud and clear. All right, I'm going to quit Firefox now. All right, awesome. Okay, welcome you guys. I got it in my head on, I think, yesterday or maybe Monday afternoon that I wanted to go live. I haven't been live in a while, and you guys know that I have been a little more scarce on YouTube in general because I am working on something really special. I am working on developing my first course, which is going to launch in very early 2021. And I'm really excited about it. Something that I've been looking forward to doing for 2 years, and client work and other content responsibilities have kept me from being able to do that. And it got to the point where I had just kind of met my capacity, even with the help of my team, and realized that I really had to just step back from a couple of my pieces of main content, my newsletter and my weekly YouTube videos, in order to focus on my course for a few months. So I promised that I would try to go live more often, and this is kind of the start of that. So I'm really happy and glad that you guys have joined me here today, and I hope that I'm going to be able to give you some really uplifting information, because I think all of us need some uplifting information right now. And Isabel, welcome. Fitsum, so good to see you guys here. Thank you so much for joining me. One thing I wanted to tell you is that I usually have my lovely and talented Joselle Tech, who's my marketing assistant, moderating the group for me today, and she is under the weather and unavailable, so it's just me. I'm running the whole shebang today, so I'm not going to be able to keep up on the comments and run the slideshow and do the comment and the talk-in and all that stuff at all the time. Niamat, thank you for your question. Are you using a tool such as Kajabi for your course? Yes, I am. I am on Kajabi. That is currently where I have my guild mastermind groups. Both of them were launched on Kajabi. I also have an intro coaching package, which is 2 45-minute sessions and email follow-up for $650. Which is a great deal, and that price will be going up in 2021 as well. So if you want to get on some coaching, you want to do it before the end of the year. But that's where I am. I am on, my whole shebang is on Kajabi, and my course will be on Kajabi as well. So great question, Niamat. I appreciate that. Wow, 12:30 a.m. in India. Man, Johnny, you rock. Thanks for showing up in the wee hours. I really appreciate it. And so, as I was saying, Joselle is not here today. So if you have a question, I'll be taking questions at the end. Please type question in all caps and then your question. You can even type the question in all caps. It'll make it easier for me to see. So when I get to the Q&A, I'm going to scroll back in my comments, and that way those questions will jump out at me. So she's not going to be feeding me questions, which is the way we used to do it, and it was a lot easier, and I had all my questions in one place. Not going to be that way this time. It's going to be a little more scrappy, but that's okay, right? We can roll. So Souza, boy, that's a hard name. Zuza, maybe that's what it is. Isabel, welcome. Sue, welcome. Laura, so good to see all you guys here. I'm so excited. So what I'm going to be talking about today, I'm sure you guys have sensed the pressure and the I want to call it a lack of gas in the tank. Like, we're all going through COVID together, and the lockdown in various stages in various parts of the world is more and less intense. In the United States, it happens to be pretty intense. It's probably going to get more intense as we go into fall and the cases rise. But summer usually acts as a, kind of an energizer. We get to travel, we get to lay in the sun, we get to see our family, and none of us got to kind of fill our tanks with that kind of gas this summer. So going into fall and winter is, we're going in a little depleted. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I thought we all need just a little bit of an uplifting message, right? We all need to be pumped up a little bit. We really need to get a positive message. And so I immediately started thinking about mindset. And that came to mind because of the experience that people have been having in my Brand Design Masters Guild, my mastermind groups that I run. And that led to me thinking about abundance. I've been hearing a lot of comments from people. Actually, I'll get to that in a bit. And when I think about abundance, I think about success. And then when I think about success, I think about what kind of holds people back from experiencing or feeling success or sensing it. And that led to me wanting to talk a little bit about limiting beliefs. So I'm going to cover a lot of ground today. I'm going to cover ground around mindset, around abundance, limiting beliefs, and success. And I hope you guys are in for that journey with me. So, Adik, great to see you. And so cool to have you all here today. So with that, why don't we just kind of jump right into it? And like I said, I'm also trying out a little tech today, a little new tech. You may or may not know, when I do my YouTube videos, I use speaking notes. I have my laptop propped under the camera, and I have bullet points so I can stay on point. I do that because I deliver a tremendous amount of information and content in hopefully a fairly succinct way when I do my videos in a very short period of time. And I can only do that if I have speaking notes. Similarly, when I do lives and I'm delivering a whole lot of content, in order to stay kind of on point and to keep my train of thought, I use speaking notes. Excuse me. And when I do that, I used to have my iPad kind of propped up that I would kind of flip through a keynote presentation and glance down at my bullet points to stay on point. But because I'm doing this course, I purchased a teleprompter. So I now have a teleprompter and my webcam going right through my teleprompter, so I can see my notes right where the camera is. So I'm hoping that it feels a little more connected, even though that's where I'm getting my cues. So a little bit of tech. So if there are tech hiccups or something turns off or turns on or something that I got to adjust, bear with me, because I'm just, we're all growing. We're all using new stuff all the time. Rinos, good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. So let's talk about mindset, first of all. We're going to talk about, like I said, mindset, success, abundance, and limiting beliefs. So what are limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs are essentially thoughts that hold you back. So we're going to talk about some techniques to combat limiting beliefs. We're going to talk about abundance, what abundance is, and also some techniques for kind of creating a mindset of abundance. And they're also going to talk about success, what success is, how you gauge success, and how you create a feeling of success in your life. A lot of what all of us are experiencing right now is psychological, I think. The psychological pressures of COVID and what that has done to our working lives, our family lives, our social lives has been incredibly complex, I think, psychologically, and in many cases oppressive. And I think that our ability to process those thoughts and reframe those thoughts in terms of our mindset, and hopefully adopt some new techniques of how we work through those thought patterns that we have, so we end up in a more positive place, in a more productive place, in a place that's going to lead us up and rather than lead us down. So that's what I want to talk about today. So a couple housekeeping things that I usually do. Number one, my website URL is in the bottom. That's my newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, you should definitely do that. And again, if you have a question, please type your question in all caps before your question. And that way, when I scroll through, Johnny asked my course content. My course content is going to be around brand strategy. It's going to be Brand Strategy 101. And I'll go deeper into that later. Maybe I'll take some time to do it at the end of the live and talk a little bit about what that content's going to be. But essentially, it's going to be a primer for getting people who are order taker graphic designers moving upstream to be more business partners with their clients and to be able to sell in basic brand strategy and increase the ticket price of what they do and increase their value as a business partner with their clients. So that's pretty much what it's going to be about in a nutshell. Put a question in all caps. And also, you guys know that I'm a partner of Daniel Scott's, who has a Adobe training site called Bring Your Own Laptop, BYOL.me. And if you put a /Philip in there, I get a little bit of an affiliate commission if I send you there. His courses, I believe, are so incredibly well priced. It's amazing. Number one, he's a certified Adobe trainer. He's spoken at the Adobe Max conference. He has incredible Adobe training courses on his website. It's a subscription base, so you don't pay per course. You just have a subscription, and it's a cheap subscription. I think it's like $15 or $12 right now. It's crazy for the type of and quality of content that he has. So definitely, if you're looking to up your game or learn Premiere or learn InDesign or a new Adobe thing to up your skill level, go to BYOL, bringyourownlaptop.me/Philip, and sign up through that portal to take some cool new classes. All right, so check that out. And also, if some of you might have heard of my Facebook group or come to me through our Facebook group. I have a new Facebook group. It's called Brand Design Masters. Facebook.com/groups/Brand Design Masters. It's a public but private group. You have to apply to get in. They'd be approved. But if you're a graphic designer, creative professional, entrepreneur, you answer a couple questions and you're in. And it's a really great community that's growing very quickly, and a lot of people are really sharing some incredible value and inspiration and information resources with each other to help everybody grow and progress and make more money and do better in life. So check out Brand Design Masters Facebook group if you haven't already. And just a couple other things. My newsletter, as I said, I'm going to take my other little newsletter thing off. That's how you get my newsletter, philipvandusen.com/muse. And if you want to connect with me on Facebook, best way to do it is actually through the Brand Design Masters Facebook group, or you can connect with me personally, or you can follow me on Instagram. I'm just showing off all my cool, fun lower thirds that I had designed, which I really love. And if you're interested in these things, I have somebody who does these. So, and very reasonably, I might add. You can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm a big networker on LinkedIn and also on Twitter. I'm not as active on Twitter. I don't find Twitter to be really my platform, but I'm there and I do stuff. So, okay, so now let's get into it. Miriam, welcome. Cool, from Israel. Awesome. Okay, let's talk about mindset. So, as I said, times are hard, right? The economy is taking a hit because of COVID. The climate change is like upon us. In the United States anyway, we have lots of civil unrest going on. We have an election coming on, which has a lot of people on the edge of their seats. There's a lot of tension. And I've been hearing a lot of comments and feedback and comments from people. Things like, I don't have time to do content, or I'm too introverted to network, or my clients don't value good design, or companies in my town don't understand branding and they won't pay for it. I'll never make X amount of dollars because it's impossible. All sorts of very kind of self-defeatist sorts of statements. Some of them may be based in reality, but they are essentially reflecting a system of belief. And so when we talk about mindset, now I have to turn on my slides. We're going to talk about mindset, limiting beliefs, abundance, and success, kind of in that order, because I think they lead through to each other. And I have some text slides that I'm going to be showing as I talk. And I have a lot of slides and a lot of talk, and I've got to make them match up. So I may miss a slide or two and have to catch up, but I'm going to do the best I can. So those are the things we're going to talk about. And a mindset is essentially a system of beliefs. And those, let me see. When you have a system of beliefs, your system of beliefs can sometimes hold you back. They can motivate you. They can inspire you. But there are also belief systems that hold you back, limiting beliefs. And those are what I wanted to focus on a little bit today, because a lot of the comments I've been getting and the problem statements I've been hearing from people, I feel are somehow and somewhat grounded in limiting beliefs. And I know something about limiting beliefs because I've had some in my life a number of times that have been very limiting in my career, and I've done things to overcome them, and they have led to incredible changes in my career. And that's why addressing limiting beliefs with my tribe and my audience is very important to me, because I know how transformative addressing them has been in my own career, and also in careers of people who I have seen and known and led and mentored. And so in some cases, limiting beliefs are real, right? There are hurdles that exist. There are fortunes of birth, so you could be born into a certain class. I don't want to call this a limit because it's just a reality, but different genders, different ethnicity, different geography, countries, born into different sorts of economies, educational opportunities, health issues, physical limitations, cultural environments. There are a lot of things that can be hurdles for people that they need to overcome. And some limits are what we're born into. Some limits are real. I don't want to say that that everything is a figment of your imagination, because I know it is not. But that said, they can also be imaginary. They can also be self-generated. And, excuse me, but they can, even though if they're self-generated, they can seem really real, or they might have been birthed out of something that was real. But then they took hold and took on a life of their own and created this level of concreteness, which wasn't necessarily based in reality. A limiting belief is something that holds you back. It's something that could be fictional, but it could be based in fact. But when it comes to actually being able to circumvent it, it could be imaginary. The comments, I know you guys are probably just listening to me, which is fine, but I always get paranoid if the comments totally stop. I feel like, there we go, Steph just popped on. Awesome. I just want to make sure the comments are still going. You don't have to talk incessantly. I just want to make sure that I haven't gone dead and I'm talking to dead air, because I don't have YouTube up on my other screen to see myself. But, okay, so let's talk about some examples of limiting beliefs type of comments or self-commentary that we tell ourselves, right? We might tell ourselves, I can't make X amount of salary. And I'm going to tell you a very personal story about that, about myself, in just a couple seconds. I can't make X amount of salary. I can't do X, right? I'm not able, this blank makes this impossible, or I can't be something because of something else. I don't want to do this thing because if I do, that won't happen. There are all sorts of different kind of limiting beliefs that and kind of internal dialogues that we have with each other. And as I said, I was getting caught up in my slides. Limiting beliefs are a belief that is holding you back in some way. Now, the personal story I wanted to tell you about was this statement I have up on there. I can't blank because of blank was like one of my internal dialogues that I had with myself all the time early in my career. I studied painting in school. I got my master's in painting. And my intention in getting my master's was in order to teach university. And so when I got out with my master's, this was decades ago, I looked for teaching work. And those were the days before the internet where you sent your slides and your resumes around and went to conferences and tried to get interviews. And I looked concertedly hard for teaching work for 5 years. And the only things that were available were like 3-month sabbatical replacements or 6 months in South Dakota, and then you were out of a job again. I had a really hard time finding work. And in the meantime, I was making a living waiting tables and painting houses and framing pictures and working in retail. I never wanted to do commercial art because in my heart, I was a fine artist. I didn't want to sell out and do commercial art. And also computers had just started coming around, and they were clunky and they were, kind of rudimentary. And so I hated the idea of computers. And so I didn't want to work with computers. I didn't want to do commercial art. I was starting to build up walls for myself. I didn't want to do this, didn't want to do this. I didn't want to wait tables anymore. I didn't want to frame pictures anymore. I didn't want to work retail. I didn't want to do commercial art. I didn't want to work with computers. And so I was starting to set up brick walls on either side of myself that kept me from being able to explore things. And it was only after I broke down those perceptions or those walls, only then did I start to grow or to succeed. And I moved to New York City. And I needed a job. I got a really nice loft apartment, and I needed to make $50,000 a year in order to, and back then that was a lot. And to pay my rent, to get by. New York's an expensive city, right? And that seemed entirely impossible to me. I was framing pictures at the time and waiting tables, and I was a fine artist. I'm like, who's going to hire me? Because I didn't want to do all these things I'd done to just make money anymore. And my girlfriend at the time, who I lived with, who's, was a previous girlfriend, not my wife now, but she said to me, I know you can make $100,000 as a designer. That's what graphic designers make. And you could be a graphic designer. And I'm like, $100,000? Are you kidding me? That is like totally insane. It was completely outside of my realm of comprehension. And the thing was, when I started to break down some of those limiting beliefs, in 5 years, I was making 3 times that amount. In 5 years, I was making 3 times the amount that I thought was totally insane. And so I had built walls of perception for myself that were keeping me limited. I thought my fine art education was worthless. I thought that my skills wouldn't translate in order to design or any other kind of job. And I thought my creative skills, that artists in general, fine artists, were supposed to suffer, where you were destined to starve, and that was kind of a badge of honor that you were supposed to hold. And I knew that I felt the corporate world didn't value creative people and they didn't compensate people. And I hated computers and I hated advertising and I hated, commercial art. But those were just perceptions that I had set up for myself. And I was wrong. I was wrong about all of it. But I didn't believe I was wrong. In my head, I had told myself these stories for so long that I was convinced that they were fact. And not until I started to break down those perceptions of what I like or didn't like, or wanted to do or didn't want to do, did opportunities start to blossom for me. So if you had told me from the time that my girlfriend said you could make $100,000 as a graphic designer, and I was hoping to make 50, if you had told me that in 10 years from that period of time, I would be a vice president of design for a major corporation, managing 65 people in 5 divisions, making more than $250,000 a year, I would have thought that you were absolutely insane. Like that was completely outside of my realm of possibility. Flying on Lear jets, going to Paris and Milan and Tokyo to go shopping for work, right? Staying in 5-star hotels. I thought you were on crack. But that's what happened. I was wrong about all of it, and that's what happened. And it was all because I was able to break down some of those limiting beliefs that I had for myself. And so now let's talk about some techniques. Solution techniques for limiting beliefs. One thing you have to be really, really careful of is the stories that you tell yourself. And you have to examine the stories that you're telling yourself and really deeply examine the truth of them or not. You have to examine your beliefs. You have to capture in writing your beliefs. You have to write them down, get them out of your head, and get them on paper. I can't do X because of X. I can't make X amount of money because of X. The world is against me because of blah, 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 blah. And really look at what you think is limiting you. What is it that you could do differently? What is it that you could re-examine? What is it that you could experiment with? And in my case, when I said I never wanted to do commercial art, I hate computers. When I started, I started a t-shirt company. I started selling my t-shirts in Manhattan. Some of you know the story. And I found out I really loved designing t-shirts. And I had my own company for about a year, drove it into the ground, decided that I wanted to work for somebody else, and I got a job with a $5 million t-shirt company in Dumbo, Brooklyn, as a graphic designer. And I lied, said I knew computers, that had just come out. Illustrator was like Illustrator 1.0. And I got the job. Luckily, I didn't have to work with computers right away, but they were using computers to design t-shirts. And so I entered the commercial art world through the apparel industry, through doing t-shirts, something more artistic that I identified with and I liked. And that led to doing t-shirt catalogs, doing t-shirt trade shows, doing t-shirt swag, doing hard goods and accessories. And that was baby steps that took me into the world of being a creative director and also into the world of the fashion industry. And so breaking down that perception I had about how companies value creatives, whether I liked doing commercial art or not, whether I liked computers or not, just opening up those possibilities for myself is what unlocked everything in my career from then forward. And it wasn't until that I said, I have to re-examine the walls that I've built for myself that have kept me on this narrow path of things that I can't do, and said, what if I tried computers? So I rented a Macintosh with Photoshop and Illustrator on it, and I played around with it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And I got addicted to learning Photoshop and Illustrator. And it was like this huge spark went off in my head, and suddenly I realized, oh my gosh, I'm so passionate about this. And I stopped painting. And my career took off in the fashion t-shirt industry. And that's what that turning point was for me. And it wasn't until I broke down that perception I had built and solidified for myself around what I wouldn't do that happened for me. So write them down, break down what you think that you can experiment with. Now, another thing you can do is get another opinion. Ask someone else about their opinion of you, what you could do, what you couldn't do. Now, here's one thing I want to say to you guys, is that be very careful of using people who are in your family as your other opinion. The reason why I'm going to say that, I'm talking parents, I'm talking aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters. The reason you don't want to use those people for that other opinion of you or what you're doing is that in many cases, that's where your limiting beliefs came from. That's where those misperceptions of personal belief, identity, can do, can't do, came from. A lot of those people in your family are carrying the same belief baggage that you are. And so be really careful about who you talk to and about those sorts of things. That said, old coworkers, old teachers, old mentors, people in Facebook groups or creative communities like the Brand Design Masters group, you can connect with people like that, bounce things off of them, a coach, mastermind, to get different opinions to help you broaden your thought processes and recognize where your limiting beliefs are and where they might be broken down. Another thing you can do is informational interviews. And I actually did a lot of informational interviews when I left my last corporate gig. I was thinking I was wanting to start an accessories company. So I contacted a lot of accessories companies that were in the kind of craft space that I was really interested in. And I asked the CEO or the CMO or whoever I could get a hold of if they would do a half an hour informational interview with me. And I went into their offices and asked them a whole bunch of questions about their business and what they like, what they didn't like, who they did business with, what the process of their business was, to learn about it. And I learned an incredible amount. They feel no pressure because you're not asking for a job, right? You're just asking for a half an hour of their time. And people love to share. They love to impart their knowledge. So a lot of people were very open to doing this for me. And so that's another way that you can explore things and explore your perceptions around things without too much pressure, either on the person you're talking to, who has no vested interest in telling you one thing one way or the other, like a family member would, right? Okay, so another thing you can do is you can find a crazy cheerleader. Someone who can pump you up, who can say, you can do this, you can do that, you should try this, maybe this, right? Give you ideas outside of your own box, your own narrow lane, your own brick lane that you've built for yourself. Creative communities like the Brand Design Masters, the mastermind groups like the Brand Design Masters Guild, a Chamber of Commerce, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, professional organizations, the AIGA, the list is endless. Connections you can make on LinkedIn. Have just get to know you Zoom calls, bounce something off of them, get to know people. Find your champions, because your champions are the ones who are going to be able to seed you with ideas that will get you to the next place, or seed you with ideas that will create a spark of curiosity in your head that will lead you to someplace new that is outside of that brick lane, right? There was a motivational speaker named Jim Rohn who said, you might have heard this, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And I got to tell you, this is more true than almost any quote I've ever heard. And surround yourself with inspiring, limitless, positive, abundance-minded people, and that will rub off on you. Try to hang out with people who are just a step more accomplished than you are, who know a little bit more than you do, because that's where you're going to get that spark and that motivation. So definitely, try to find those champions for yourself. Now, I'm going to say one thing at the end of this, which is that, do I have an extra drink? Someone said, do I have an extra drink? I know, I do this. I'm not a drinker, so caffeine is my drug of choice. So when I do lives, I always am nursing a Red Bull because it keeps my lips moving. So I'm sorry about that. I've gotten a lot of grief for drinking Red Bull. And I don't do it very often, but periodically it's tasty. And that's no affiliate payment for that. I should ask Red Bull for an affiliate payment at this point. The other thing I'm going to tack on there is that sometimes our limiting beliefs can be very, very deeply seated in ourselves, and it can take only a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or some sort of, actually prescribed medication in order for us to see something more clearly. So if you are stuck to the place that you can't get yourself unstuck using a lot of these techniques that I'm sharing, never feel shame about seeking professional help. I have sought professional help at different times in my career, and it has been nothing but helpful and has gotten me to new places. So I would just say, if it gets to that point where you're feeling really, really stuck, therapy can help, psychological help can help. So putting that out there as a ground level kind of base. So Red Bull keeps my lips moving is a bumper sticker. Yes, it is, Peter. Peter is so great at pulling out my verbatims and turning them into advertising messages. Okay, so let's move on. Now let's talk about abundance a little bit. You guys all with me? How's this going? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Rob, motivation of the mind. I tint. Laura, what do you think? Let's talk about abundance. What's the definition of abundance? Abundance is more than enough, right? So, and a lack of abundance is everything's taken, right? There isn't enough. And the thing I'm hearing from people a lot, the subcurrent of a lot of comments I'm hearing or problem statements that I'm hearing is that everything is taken. All the clients are taken. My niche is too full. There are no jobs out there. I'm limited in the styles that I can design. I don't want to work with other people. I'm worried that other people will steal my clients, or there isn't enough work out there. There are too many designers in the world, or there are so many designers in the third world that, they're undervaluing everything that we do. Everyone can get a design for $5, right? Incredibly limiting statements. And the one thing that you have to keep in mind as an umbrella thought through all of this is that you are you. You are different from everybody else in the world. And that is your main advantage, is that you are different from everybody else. And you've heard it before, but different is better than better. You don't have to be better than everybody else. You just have to be different from everybody else and different in your own unique way. So part of starting off a mindset of abundance is recognizing your differentiation, brand differentiation, personal differentiation, personality differentiation, right? The power of the uniqueness of you, and how that is a deserving factor for good things to come into your life. Again, mindset. So here are, sorry, I'm getting stuck in my notes a little bit. I'm backing up. Let me tell you something. In all my experience through my career and my years and working with my community and my mastermind groups and in my own professional knowledge and experience, there is enough for everybody. There is enough work, there's enough clients, there's enough connections, there are enough companies, there are enough projects out there. The more you believe in abundance, the more abundance you will see. The more you believe there are a lot of clients, the more clients you will see. The more you believe there's a lot of work out there, the more work you will see out there. I'm a firm believer, and I just got off a phone call with an executive coach in Canada, not my coach, but someone who's a business partner and was a client actually. And she has coached a lot of senior executives, and I've coached a lot of people in my career and masterminds and stuff as well. I used to think that this physical manifestation of belief was like way woo-woo, like it was like Reiki, it was like, magic, and that it wasn't real. And recently, I have really turned that around. I have been seeing and experiencing physical manifestation of changed belief systems like I have never seen before. And she actually called it two different things. One was she named it two different things. One, she called it conscious luck, which is that you change your consciousness and your luck changes. Another thing that she called it was the universal energy exchange, which I thought was brilliant. And I think that there should be a group or a book or something written called the universal energy exchange. Because if you change your mindset, you change your future. If you change your point of view and your perspective and your belief systems, then that will actually be physically manifested in your life. Now, I want to tell you another little story. And Peter Lewis knows this to be true, and he can say, yes, Philip is right. He's correct. Peter Lewis was in Guild number 1, Brand Design Masters Guild, my first group mastermind. And when people made the psychological decision and the financial commitment to join that group, something changed for them, almost to a person. Within the first 2 or 3 weeks of that guild taking place, their thought processes about investing in their future and changing and advancing in their careers manifested itself in real things, either in real client jobs coming to them, being asked to partner with other guild members as subcontractors on their projects, getting brand new clients, getting the biggest client of their agency's career. Like, stuff started to happen. Real stuff. And we actually named it. We called it the guild effect, because people joined the guild, they made the financial and the psychological commitment to grow and change and progress more quickly, and things started to happen. It's a mindset shift that brings stuff to fruition in reality. And I know it's really hard to wrap your head around, and you might go, oh man, Phil is totally smoking crack and he's like making this stuff up, and he's like gone to the mountaintop and he's like preaching some sort of hooey. He is not. This is real. I'm absolutely convinced. And when I was talking to my friend, the executive coach in Canada, who's worked with like C-suite level executives for decades, she was saying, I see this again and again and again. When people make the conscious commitment to change and alter their mindset, reality follows them. Conscious luck, universal energy exchange, whatever you want to call it. So now let's talk about some techniques that you can use to cultivate a mindset of abundance. Y'all with me? All right. Absolutely true. Peter says, absolutely true. Life-changing experience went from maybe to absolutely. And Peter is a pragmatic guy. He was probably in the same mindset than I was about, physical manifestation, that's all hooey. But Peter saw some incredibly dramatic change in his mindset and his business in very quick order when he joined the guild. I can say that as a fact. Okay, here's some things that you can do to cultivate a mindset of abundance. One is you need to recognize the power of your thoughts. Your thoughts make things happen. Your thoughts frame your reality. When I was saying limiting beliefs, my limiting beliefs created brick walls on the two different sides of what I saw was possible in my life. And those were only beliefs. Not until I broke those beliefs down and tried things outside of those beliefs did opportunities and successes manifest themselves in my real life. So are your thoughts based on fear and scarcity? What are the stories that you tell yourself, right? How can you shift your mindset to one of abundance? You need to write down or share them with a friend for accountability. What are those thought processes that you have that are based in fear, that are based in scarcity, that are based in things not being enough, not having enough of something? Number 2, you want to practice gratitude. Gratitude, I'm going to come back to, but gratitude is one of the foundation points of abundance. You have to really be grateful for what you currently have, because in doing that, you're recognizing the enoughness of what you currently have. And that will lead to a mindset that leads to more abundance. Tony Robbins was quoted as saying, when you're grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. This is Tony Robbins, who's like motivational, ninja, right? He said, when you're grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. So I would recommend keeping a gratitude journal. I've done this for years. I don't do it every day now, but I used to. Start every day with like morning papers, morning journals, whatever the process is people use. And I would write down 10 things that I'm grateful for every day. And in recognizing 10 things that I'm grateful for every day, it could be, I have a roof over my head. I woke up, I had breakfast, my car turned on, whatever that is, things you're grateful for. By recognizing things that you're grateful for every day, it creates an attitude of abundance and enoughness in your life. And that will manifest itself in opportunity of abundance and moreness in your life. Next thing is you want to believe that the sky's the limit. You want to limiting thinking about one thing. When you center all of your entire thoughts around one thing, you're closed-mindedly focused on, I have to get this job, or I have to get this client, or my design work, blah 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 blah, or my relationship, blah 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 blah. Whatever that is, if you are focusing too intensely on one thing, that single-mindedness about thoughts or possibilities will block out other things. You have to relax your mind and be open to new things appearing in your life, and pay attention and cognizant of when new things are appearing in your life. Let me tell you, this is a bit of a metaphor. When I was young in my 20s, I hurt my back really badly. I was lifting weights and I herniated a disc in my back. I was in constant pain for almost 2 years and on massive amounts of anti-inflammatories. It's a wonder it didn't eat my stomach alive. But it was a really, really tough experience. One of the things that I learned was that when your back is injured, the muscles tense up around it. So you have to continually stretch those back muscles out, because when the muscles tense up, the blood can't get in order to heal the wound. They freeze, and then it constricts the healing process. It's the same thing in cultivating a mindset of abundance. You have to relax the mind. You have to relax the intensity for new ideas and new opportunities to come in. This is one of the reasons that people recommend meditation a lot, and I've been practicing a lot of meditation myself recently. And it's a way to calm your mind, quiet your mind, because a relaxed mind is what will allow new thoughts and new patterns and new ideas and new possibilities to come in. It's the same thing as like the tensed muscle. A tense muscle can't get any blood. A tensed brain can't get any ideas. It's exactly the same thing. You have to believe that there's opportunity. Next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you cultivate and share your passions and your purpose. So you want to share with others what you know, what you've learned, what you can do, your knowledge, and give it freely. By doing this, by sharing what you know, sharing your knowledge, giving it freely, helping others, providing value to others, it will build your confidence. And in building your confidence, it puts you on a much more solid ground in terms of feeling gratitude, feeling a sense of enoughness, feeling a sense of accomplishment. And creating a personal brand really helps with this too, because it's creating a new definition of self outside of your job or outside of the agency that you work for, a new personally owned definition of self. And when you do that, the opportunities to do more, to be more, to own more of it for yourself start to manifest themselves. So sharing with others what you're great at is really helpful in building your confidence. So you want to cultivate and share those passions and share that purpose that you have with others, because that will cultivate these this positive bowl of ideas and positivity that you own, which will contribute to a sense of enoughness and possibility, right? And so next is you want to develop mastery experiences. And that is, I've told this story before too, and I'm sure some of you have heard it, which is that my goal is to become 1% better every day. Just a little bit better in increments. Because if you become just 1% better every day in 365 days, in 1 year, you are 365% better. If you try to be 365% better next week, you're going to be disappointed. But if you bite it off in tiny little pieces, you can get there. And how you put that into actual practice is that write down big goals. So write down a big goal, a 365-day goal that you have for yourself, or a 5-year goal you have for yourself. And then break that goal into small incremental steps that you have to do to get there. And maybe 100 steps. Put it on a spreadsheet. Big goal, all the steps it's going to take to get there. And maybe even the time it's going to take to do that step. What that does is it breaks down a big, hairy, audacious goal into something that's attainable. You can attain that one step. You can do that one next step. You can do that one next 1% thing. And eventually, that goal is going to be there. Case in point, I wanted to start a YouTube channel. And I thought YouTube is going to be my new business engine. But you can't have a YouTube new business engine until you have a bunch of content out there. And I was like, I got to do this. But I knew that I had to do my first video. I had to post something. I had to do one. Then I had to do 2. I signed up for doing a video a week for a year. That's the period of time I gave myself. And I did it. And I kept that going for 4.5 years until just about a month ago when I realized I had to put my back into my course. But the point is, I have a YouTube channel that is a new business engine for me. And it started with my putting a camera on, step number 1, mini goal, put the camera on the tripod. Number 2, turn it on. Number 3, put some lights on yourself. Number 4, start talking, right? Edit it. Teeny little goals that led to that first video getting up there. And then it built and built and built. And within a year, I had 52 videos online. And so that's how it happens. It happens incrementally. Now, not lastly, I take that back. We got more. We got many more. We got 5 more, in fact. Things you can do for abundance. Is this working for you guys? Yeah? All right. I know the chat is like, 45 seconds delayed. So is this helping? I hope so. I'm going to keep going, but I need some more refreshment. Hold on. All right. The next one is pick your words wisely. Because language, particularly the language that we repeat in our heads, affects how we do everything. It affects what manifests itself in our lives, and as well as what you tell yourself and what you tell others shapes your reality. If you're telling stories of scarcity, what's hard, what's difficult, what's a barrier, what's impossible, if you tell yourself those stories, or you're sharing with your best friend that story over and over again, or your girlfriend, or the people in your mastermind, or whatever, those limiting stories, and you're repeating that again like a tape in your head, it will become your reality. It will become harder and harder to free yourself from that inner dialogue, that inner tape loop, right? You have to cut the tape loop. You have to start telling yourself stories and verbally manifesting possibilities, positivity, abundance. Repeat those things, and they will become your reality over time. So be really careful about paying attention to what the words are that you're using, the stories you're telling, internally and externally. Next, you want to build a growth, build beyond a growth mindset. So you want to be really curious about other people and their experiences. You want to ask someone every day about their life, about what their goals are, about where their possibilities are. Because in seeing how other people set goals, achieve those goals, move to the next level, you can become a student of that behavior. Yes, you can develop it yourself completely independently, but it's like trying to learn tennis without a tennis instructor, right? So it's good, and that goes back to that Jim Rohn quote about surrounding yourself with the 5 people who influence you the most, right? You want to surround yourself with people who are setting those goals, achieving those things, having that mindset of positivity and success, because that will rub off on you. So build into and beyond that growth mindset. The next is that you want to think like a beginner. The practice of Zen boils down to beginner's mind. And beginner's mind is having a mindset that is teachable, where you are open. Again, that idea of an open mind that's open to absorb and to be influenced and to have new ideas come in. You want to approach the mindset of abundance like a beginner, like you don't have an understanding of what it is. You are just completely, you want to be able to think of possibilities that are completely outside of your realm of perception, or your ability to believe to be true. You want to start thinking in a new way. You have to kind of level set and get past your current thought engine and kind of do a reset. Start as a beginner in this thought building process. Number 9 is you notice the good. This is an important one. Humans are hardwired in our little reptilian brains, fight or flight, right? All negative. Like the number one motivation that we have is avoid bad things. Don't get eaten by the lion, right? Don't fall off the cliff. Don't get in a car accident. Like those are the things that are number one on our mind. It's like avoid negative. Like you don't want the bad thing to happen. And sometimes in our evolved brains, we get caught in that cycle of like focusing on the negative, trying to make the bad not happen. What's harder to do is to try to focus on the solution more than the problem. One of the things that I told my team, and when I was a creative leader in corporations and agencies, a lot of creatives would come to me into my office and say, I have a problem with X account manager or X client or X coworker, this big problem, I got this problem. It's like, I have a problem with it. And I would say, look, you're closer to the problem than I am. You can come to me with a problem, but I want you to come to me with a proposed solution. You have to start living more in the solution of what this problem is than in the problem itself, because it's really easy to sit like a pig and you know what I mean? It's much harder to devise a solution. So you have to retrain your mind to start focusing and living more in the solution than in the problem. You have to recognize the good and avoid that reptilian brain that's just thinking about not getting eaten by the lion. And number 10, in terms of techniques you can use to set a mindset of abundance, is that you want to write down your fears and process them through to the very end. This is the first part of seeking, of speaking daily abundance affirmations. You can establish affirmations, positive thoughts, and repeat them to yourself, like I said, in that inner dialogue, but you do it verbally. But one of the techniques that I use to get out of that reptilian brain fear response mode is that you write down your fears. You write down your fears, the worst case scenario of what could happen, and then you process those in your brain to the very end. Like, I can't become a video editor because I won't get a job and then I'll end up on the street. Completely unrealistic, right? If you said, okay, I became a video editor and I couldn't get a job, then what would happen? Okay, I might not be able to pay my rent. Then what would happen? Okay, I'd have to move into my parents. Okay, then what would happen? Or I'd live with my parents for a while and then I'd get a job and then I'd be able to move out. We jump from, I can't do this, be a film editor, to I'm going to be living on the street in like 2 seconds, right? What you want to be able to do is try to process the fear in micro steps, because you start to realize the unreality of the fear and how worst case scenario is generally never going to happen. And so you have to retrain your mind to think about the positive of what could happen and start to establish those as daily affirmations, to write down the gratitude list, the positivity, the options, the possibilities, the newness, the opportunities that come into your life, and recognize those and repeat those and share those in daily affirmations, because that changing that inner dialogue is what is going to lead to a mindset of abundance in your head, right? Which will then, as I said, manifest itself in your life. And so now let's move on to talking about success. You guys ready? Let's talk about success. Sorry, areas of opportunity. Oh, Leah. Leah's here. Cool. Hey, Leah. Welcome. All right. Success. Are you successful? What is success? The answer to that really is, it depends on where you are. Like, it depends on where you are and where you want to be. So success is that place between where you are and where you want to be. It could be focused on career, it could be focused on money, it could be on a living situation, it could be in a relationship, it could be health or well-being or mental or physical wellness, it could be growth potential. Success is defined by where you are now versus where you want to be. And in many cases, that goalpost changes all the time. The goalpost of success will change throughout your life. If you're 22 right now and a graphic designer and are a creative professional or, I don't know, an entrepreneur, your idea of what success is 10 years from now will be different than it is right now. You may achieve what you have in your head for success, but when you get to that next place, you're going to have a different goalpost of success. I absolutely guarantee you. So there was this guy. You guys are familiar with this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it. But Abraham Maslow created a paradigm called Maslow's hierarchy of needs in 1943. It's a pyramid. And it looks like this, and I know it's kind of small. You can look it up online. I'm not going to zoom in on it. But essentially, it's a pyramid of needs. It starts with the most basic needs on the bottom, like the physiological needs, food, shelter, sleep. And then it goes up to personal safety, goes up to love and belonging, and then esteem, and then finally into self-actualization. So like seeking happiness, utilizing your talents, much more psychological stuff. Excuse me. Success can be defined on every one of these levels. You can have success in the bottom level of this pyramid. I'm successful because I have a roof over my head, enough to eat, and a safe place to sleep. You can have success in safety. So I'm not going to get eaten by the lion, right? Or, I have no war in my country, or I haven't had we don't have any tornadoes. I'm safe from tornadoes. And you move up this hierarchy, and there's levels of success that can be attained throughout this. So what success means may be completely different for different people, where you are in your life or where you are in that pyramid. So, what does success really mean? When I was young, when you're young, take it back. When you're young, it could be, your success is like, I'm fed, I'm nurtured, I'm emotionally secure, my mommy loves me. Midlife, it might be career, purpose, an improved living condition, renting your own apartment. Midlife, it might be getting married or having a house or owning cars or having a couple kids. Late in life, it might be, your health or financial independence or career satisfaction with what you've done in life, or leisure or travel. Success means different things at different times in your life. That goalpost, as I said, is always changing. It means different things at different times. And so when I was a teen, I just wanted a girlfriend, I wanted money of my own, and I wanted a cool guitar. Like, that's what I wanted. And I thought, if I get those things, I'm going to be a happy guy for the rest of my life. And I got those things by the time I was 22 or something like that. And then in my 20s, I wanted to sell artwork. I wanted to find a job. I wanted to, have a serious relationship. I wanted to live independently. And then as I went through my life, different ages, my needs, my ideas of success totally changed. Essentially, your definition of success will totally and always change. So let's talk about a success questionnaire for you. Are you successful, or how do you gauge whether you're successful or not? Number one, have you created a comfortable balance? A comfortable balance between what your goals are and what you have and are grateful for. Where you are versus where you want to be. Have you created a comfortable balance between those two things? If you can have goals and not have everything that you ever want or ever, need, and still feel successful, as long as you're grateful for the stuff that you do have. So, are you establishing a comfortable balance in where you are in order to allow for a feeling of success to manifest itself inside of you? And I know this is totally getting woo-woo now, but number two is, are you focused on real value? Giving to others, providing value to others, to teams, creating solutions for people, collaborating with people, offering value to the world and a legacy of change and goodness is what gives people the feeling of success. Cash and prizes, you've heard it from every celebrity in the world, right? Every mega-billionaire in the world. Money doesn't buy happiness. You can be successful by certain definitions, but does Jeff Bezos feel like super successful because he has $10 zillion? Or does he feel successful because he's been able to make it possible for everybody to have whatever they need overnight delivered to their house? What is that definition of success? Are you focusing on real value? In your own life, are you delivering value and focusing on delivering real value to others in your life? Because that is one of those things that will help bring you a feeling of success. Now, have you achieved a goal? When you achieve a goal, you've got to stop. It's really easy to look at that next goal, that next step, that next thing you want for the goalpost the second you reach that goal to suddenly be 10 yards ahead of you again. You have to stop and congratulate yourself for that success, for that job well done. You have to momentarily stop that goalpost from shifting forward really quickly, right? Because that moment of success and accomplishment is fleeting. And so that's one method you can use, is that stopping to recognize achieving a goal. And then, another one is, did you achieve recognition? Recognizing whether you have, and I'm not talking about fame here. I'm not talking about getting famous. I'm talking about, did you get some sort of recognition, internal, external, from the people you're providing value to, of a job well done? Another one is, are you asking yourself the right questions? So not how much money you make or what title you have, but a question like, did I make a difference? Did I help people? Is the world a better place? Did I help someone with something get to a new place, feel more fulfilled? What makes you a success today? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself the good questions. What value did I add? Who did I help? What did I bring to the world? What did I provide with my hard work? Not what did I get? What were my cash-in prizes? Because I tell you, the cash-in prizes are not where success resides in your heart. If you talk about fleeting sense of success, fleeting senses of success have dollar signs on them, I guarantee you. And lastly, and I kind of touched on this already, which is, do I inspire others? Who can I uplift? Am I doing enough to help others? That is a real indicator of success. So ask yourself that question as a success questionnaire question. Do I inspire others? Now, gratitude. I'm going to end with gratitude because the most important piece of all of this, I said I was going to circle back to it, right? So I'm circling back to it, is gratitude. You have to be grateful for where you are when you're there. Like I said, stopping, recognizing the success, recognizing your accomplishment. Be grateful for what you have now. That will fill you with a sense of abundance. So gratitude for wherever you are equals abundance. Stop and be grateful for every achievement. That will bring to you a mindset of success. And then helping others will help you be even more successful. And if you can stay in that place of gratitude and stay in that place of recognition of achievement, those will open the doors of that mind, will break down those brick walls of the brick lane that keeps you limited in your belief system to what is possible. What's possible in terms of what's available and abundant to have, to do, to be, and also the places and goals that you can achieve and the place that you can get. And with that, be present and enjoy the journey. So that is the end of my little pep talk. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because I've been through a lot of this stuff and I've heard a lot and said a lot of the commentary that I said at the very beginning that I've been hearing. The limitations of belief, the I can'ts, the there isn't, the, I won't. And a lot of that is brought on by, like I said, the times that we're in are very weighty and they're taking a lot of our self-resilience out of us. And so I just wanted to share some tools that you can use and some mindset perspectives that you can play with that hopefully will help you adjust how you're going through life right now, how you're progressing in your career right now, how you are framing out your sense of possibility and growth. Because there is enough for everyone. And if you break down the limiting beliefs, anything is possible. I am a testament to that. And I know a lot of people who are as well. And I see them every day in my Brand Design Masters Guild. I meet with them every week or every week in my Brand Design Masters Guild, every day in the Brand Design Masters Facebook group, and in my YouTube community, and the people who respond to my newsletter. I hear incredible stories of manifestations of positive thinking, limitless belief, abundance, and success. And a lot of it is mindset. Like Attic said at the very beginning, a lot of this is mindset. And because the times we're in are so psychologically brutal, it's sandpaper on our mindset right now, right? It's actively working against having a positive mindset. I know because I've been going through the same thing, right? it's an uphill battle right now. And I just want to acknowledge that for all of you and for me, that's what we're all kind of going through. And so I just wanted to share some of these thoughts and some of these experiences with you to try to help you possibly reframe where you might be in your life and your journey right now. So with that, I hope you enjoyed it. And I wanted to just open it up for some Q&A. So if you guys have a question or want to talk about anything, it doesn't have to be about success and, limiting beliefs and stuff, or you want to share a story of your own, I'd be totally open to that. So with that, I'm going to just have another little sip, and you guys are going to type your questions in all caps if you have any. If you don't, that's fine. I have to give you some time for the feed to come through. And otherwise, I'll just sign off and you guys have a rest of your Wednesday. Or in the case of the person who's in India, the beginning of your Thursday. Thank you so much. I'm going to see if I can do this. Fitzum says, thank you so much. Great speech. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it was. Beating our mind with gas. It needs to work as a professional gear. That's true. We all need a little more gas in our tank. And then Ian said, I achieved my dream job as an automotive designer this year, coming from Art Center. That is so awesome, Ian. Absolutely awesome. Congratulations. The automotive industry is going through some stuff right now, so that is an achievement. And take a moment and really feel that. I know you are, you just typed it, but really, like, more than a moment. And just, you worked your butt off to get there, and that's a real achievement. So congratulations, Ian. That's really amazing. All right, so I'm going to scroll back through all this stuff and see if there were any questions that I didn't address real quickly. And looking for the all caps. Fitzum asked, how long did it take to get to your turning point? Well, my psychological turning point happened, I want to say, when I was 32. I didn't start doing graphic design until I was 32. I was a fine artist through my 20s and into my, beginning of my 30s. I had that kind of emotional and psychological watershed moment where I shifted careers away from fine art into the fashion industry and graphics for apparel, and then eventually into branding, design, packaging, big corporate stuff. That happened when I was 32 years old. So when I hear people who go, I'm 24 and I haven't figured out what I'm going to do, I'm like, oh my God, chill out on yourself. Explore, try some stuff. It's possible, I started when I was 32. By the time I was 42, I was a VP in a major corporation. Stuff can change and happen really quickly as soon as you kind of open yourself up to learning and open yourself up to newness. So that was one of the questions. I'm going to back up again. I know there's people of your course content. Okay. All right. I'm way back in the beginning now. James Brown. James Brown's in the house. All right. Renos, end of Wednesday. Cyprus, end of Wednesday. Okay. Anti-fan says, need to watch this again. I hope so. Share it with some others, Share this with other people, because I think a lot of people need to hear this right now. And I'm sorry, I'm going to throw something up on the screen. I just want to make sure everybody knows about the Facebook group and who I am. I'm going to do this. See if that'll play itself. All right, so Renos is taken off. What advice would you give someone to try to increase international success during COVID? Here's the thing. ITINT. ITINT is, here, I'll put that on the screen. There are no boundaries anymore. I mean, every single creative professional in the United States is experiencing the fact, or, in the Western world is experiencing the compression of pricing in creative work from developing countries and China, India. And there are no international boundaries anymore. So your ability to do business in, wherever, the EU, Europe, Australia, there are no boundaries. The only boundary is who you connect to and who you network with, and the network and series of connections and relationships that you build. That is the only barrier. How to increase international success? Start to interact with people who are in countries other than your own, where they have businesses or professional practices, and start interacting with people in other countries. Start with the people who are in your industry, who are colleagues or cohorts, or not prospective clients, but people who you can just network with to start to expand your sphere of influence. That's number one. Start publishing your content with a more international point of view. When you publish, you curate content that's of an international point of view. Take an international point of view when you publish ideas or thoughts or pieces or video or podcasts. You have to kind of adjust your mindset to a more international point of view in terms of networking, relationships, and content in order to develop that sphere. So I hope that helps. Sano Design. Sorry, I'm going to put this up here. I'm stuck in a rut. Been in the same company for over 17 years, working as graphic designers, close to a home steady job, and mentally I'd like to change design principle to painting. Do it. Do it. I've been in graphic design and branding now for 30 plus years, and I am trained as a painter. And as I move into later time in my career, I am taking painting back up again because I missed it. And when I put it down, I said, when painting serves me again, I will be able to pick it up and I'll be able to start painting again. And I actually just started painting again. So, do what feeds your creative soul. I would say, if you can find a way for painting to pay the bills, God bless you. That might be teaching. Teaching painting is, probably a lot easier now than it was when I was a boy, but go for it. I really strongly believe that people need to feed their creative souls and their creative breadth as much as possible, because no matter what you do, it will feed whatever it is that you are doing for a career. It's more of a new hobby. Yeah, well, that's cool. New hobbies can turn into all sorts of things. Yeah, I'm going to put this up there. Peter says, I was in the same place when I got laid off and had to start my own business. Not sure I'd recommend it. And Peter had, decades of experience and came to a point in his career where he had to make a shift very quickly, unexpectedly, and he has done that in amazing form. But it's hard. It's really, really hard to do, and it's hard to do when you're under the gun. It's much better to explore it when you do have that paycheck coming in. So Sano Designs, I would recommend that you keep the paycheck coming in when you're exploring that kind of thing. So I'm going to hang out for like 2 more minutes. If no one types the word question in all caps, I'm signing off. I've been talking all day on Zoom and on the phone, and you can probably hear it in my voice. It's like really gravelly. And I don't have a 2 hours, live in me today. The one thing I'm going to say at the end is that I'm going to grovel. I'm going to grovel for money. There's a little $sign underneath the chat window on YouTube, and it's a super chat button where you can donate a couple bucks to my cause. And if you found any value in today's sharing live, I'd appreciate whatever kind of tip you can leave me in the tip jar. That would be awesome. And if not, no biggie. Definitely come to the Brand Design Masters Facebook group and hang out and meet some people. In response to the guy who's looking to expand his international footprint, start there. Start in the Brand Design Masters Facebook group, because there's a lot of people from all over the world there, and you can definitely start building a network there very easily. Peter, you're the man. Peter threw me a $5 in the tip jar. So awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And all right, you guys, this has been great. I hope that I've been able to kind of like spread some joy, spread some value, give you just a little bit of spark, ray of hope, a little rainbow into the COVID time tunnel that we're in right now. Yes, Fitsum, please send more Red Bulls. I need them. You guys have been awesome. I really, really appreciate your hanging out and spending this time with me. It was so much fun. I had such a good time. And I really appreciate you guys so much. Please leave a comment in the comments below. That always helps, the video gets shared, or share the recording of the video, which will be posted in just a couple minutes. I would really appreciate it making its way out into the world, because I think a lot of people need this message right now, and I hope that you were able to you're able to get something from it. So again, my gratitude is that you guys are such amazing partners with me in this journey that I am on in sharing value and positivity and content and energy to grow and evolve and break through our limiting beliefs with me all together. So with that, thanks so much for hanging out with me. And until the next time I go live, which will hopefully be really soon. See you later.